And we're going to see it all at Sandown Park this evening. Group 1 action with the running of the final of the Sapphire Crown. Welcome. We'll be catching up with all the key participants on our panel today for both the Group 1 Sapphire Crown and also the other feature race on the program, the Harrison Dawson for the boys. And it's attracted such an outstanding field as well as we join Marg Long and also Mick Floyd. How are you guys?
Very well, thanks Nadia, and looking forward to what is a ripper night of racing.
It's going to be pretty exciting. Even the free-for-all tonight is a group race in itself. There's 5 group winners in there as well, so it's from the start to the finish, it's going to be a great night of racing. Great
pleasure to welcome trainer Tony Brett to our panel today. Tony's so used to being in these big finals in Victoria, but walk away with the prize, Tony. Come on, we're handing it to you this time.
Yeah, I've probably more pressure this time because it's for once in your life, everyone else is quite happy for you to win it, I think, yeah.
His win, we're talking about Glenn Gallen in the heat last week, I think everybody was cheering him home. It was such a super performance, and to run the time he did for a dog his age, it was just awesome.
Yeah, he's very humbling to train in that way, in that he comes from behind and like you said, you'd be happy to look up and just see a 29.60 run or something like that, but to run 29.37 doing it that tough, it earns him a lot of respect.
What's your thoughts from the box tonight?
I don't mind box 3. There's a bit of speed in the race, but they can be a bit tardy at the start sometimes. So the start's all important. He's not going to lead the race, but if he can get around that first turn in a good position and a few lengths off him down the back, he'll be there at the finish.
We spoke after the heat last week, Tony, and you're genuinely in awe of the dog, aren't you?
Oh, I am, Mick. He's, as I said, it's humbling to train him, and like you said, you get good dogs, and I don't know whether it's a tall poppy syndrome or what, but sometimes a lot of people are knocking the good dogs. You feel so half the time that they want to see them get beaten sometimes, whereas this fella, people are genuinely happy to see him race well. They just know that he's been up for so long, and they're happy to see him win a race.
Do you think that's the reason? Like you do talk about the tall poppy syndrome, and with a lot of the good dogs, you do get that faction that just want to see the tall poppy knocked down. But with him, people really do want to see him win.
Yeah, it's quite amazing, and probably because he's been all over the state, as far away as Perth, and they just love him over there. We've had calls from there for him as a stud dog, and yet he's only raced there 4 times. So, like you said, and even friends of friends who have got long lost cousins here and there, everyone seems to know at Glenn Gallen. The boys at Freight at Virgin in Brisbane, they wave him off, and they're always checking out his time of when his race is. He's very popular.
I think a lot of it is, he's such a genuine race dog. He chases so hard. He works his way through fields. He doesn't have that advantage of pinging to the front and just bowling along. He's got to work his way through. And I always think there's a genuine respect for dogs like that because they don't do it easy, they do it hard. And he's done it hard and done it successfully for such a long time. So many group finals. It's just a joy to watch, isn't it?
No doubting that. You'd like to see him pass on some of that field sense to his progeny.
Yeah, that's for sure. No reason why he shouldn't make it as a sire. He ticks a lot of the boxes, and like you said, that chase and that's hard to find in dogs these days. Like you said, when things go their way, most dogs will do things properly, but throw a spanner in the works and the odd bump here or there, and more tend to throw it in rather than keep going, whereas he just never gives up.
It's funny, isn't it? We spoke last week about Norman Aldi and the Wheelers and the like going over to the States for that real strength and chase in the breed, and of course Glenn Gallen's by a born American chaser himself.
Yeah, Michael, and same, he's built like the American dogs. You see them, they're solid and tough and have 100, 120 starts without any worries. And he's a bit that same way. He's got a great temperament, and injury-wise, he's been fantastic. So, that American size coming out in him for sure.
He's clocked up $500,000 prize money, which is, it's nice to get over that 500,000 mark, isn't it? We've got 502 now after last week, which is great. Another 100,000's going begging here tonight. It would be a great achievement, wouldn't it, to pick up that sort of dollars with a dog?
Oh, I'd love to just see him bypass 500 altogether and jump straight into the 600s. That'd be just perfect.
He could end up being, an all-time high money earner the way that he's going. He's still got a little bit left in him. Will you sort of press on and maybe look at a berth at a Top Gun and a Melbourne Cup later in the year, or is that age against him?
Yeah, it does come against him. The younger dogs are definitely will catch up to him. I mean, he's still running great times, and while he's doing that, Nadia, we'll keep going with him. But as I said, the young legs tend to get a bit quicker, and that's sort of pushing the end of the year. But for now, we're looking at a Brisbane Winter Cup back home, and maybe a national. So there's a bit there, and yeah, definitely. I mean, if he happened to win tonight and could win another one up home or something like that, the highest prize monies would be a great trophy on the mantelpiece. But that depends on Miata a lot, I suppose.
Very true. Well, she might only have one big race left, and that could be next week.
Well, that's right. I think it's this is her last big campaign, so the opportunity's there for you.
Yeah, you never know.
We've thrown it out. We mentioned the box draw earlier. Sometimes there's a train of thought with him that he's probably better off just drawing a little bit off fence than drawing inside on one. He hasn't had a lot of luck drawing one in these big finals in the past. No,
and that comes back to being just an average beginner.
Yeah.
From the one, you can get cluttered up on the fence, whereas he tends to jump better with dogs either side. I don't know how he knows, but he does tend to come out a little bit better that way. And like you said, because he can weave through a field, I don't think he minds being sort of in the middle of the pack.
Mm.
There's not a lot of early pace in this race either, so that should certainly help him. We saw last week he dropped back a little bit, but that early pace isn't there in this final, so he should position pretty well. Yeah,
and the fact, Mickey, he got down and... He was down really good, but he just didn't time the start, and it's been a while since he's raced at Sandown since the Cup last year. So I think with that look, I think he will come out a bit better tonight. And if he can get down into a 5:10 first section, just behind the speedsters, that'll pan out perfectly.
How does he pull up and come through his runs as a rule? Is he pretty tough on that in that basis?
Yeah, he is, Nadia. He's just, as you said, he's just a true professional, and he knows that come tomorrow morning we're back on the plane and back home again, and I think he waits in anticipation when I pull up in the car at the kennels. If I've got luggage in the back, he knows we're off flying and we're not going straight to Albion Park. So, he pulls up really good after his race, and he's fit enough and strong enough that... you just sort of lighten his workload a little bit to hopefully get a bit more speed early.
Is it making it a lot more difficult now for Queensland trainers to make a real living out of greyhound racing with your state of industry up there?
Yeah, it is, Nadia. It's tough at home. It sort of works both ways because we're small fish in the ocean up there. There's not so many bigger kennels around, and for the likes of me who tends to try and look for that better dog, it's not so bad, but for people on the edge, it's very tough with an average dog because you've only got two tracks, and we're at a bit of a stalemate in Queensland at the minute. And but the good thing for me is I love to travel and love to have a go at the better races. So if a good dog comes along, hopefully I'm one of the trainers that people ring.
Looking at some of the opposition in tonight's Harrison Dawson final, we've got trainer Tony Flores with us, who has drawn box 6 with an underrated greyhound in Hurricane Isaac, and this is the dog who was a runner-up behind Glenn Gallen last start. Tony, great to get through to the final, and it's probably a fair call to say that your dog's quite underrated.
Yeah, well, he's been placed 21 times. He's been in the money 21 times out of 26 starts. And I think on probably 11 occasions it's been in the city there. I think it's Sandown. He's had 12 starts for 4 wins, 5 seconds and a third. But look, I'm just glad to be in there, just to be in a Group 2 final. I really didn't expect to be there. I mean, 6 months ago when he started racing, I would have been happy just to win a maiden at Terolgan. So.
It's amazing how far he's come along and how quickly as well. You mentioned he only started racing 6 months ago, but he's come from pretty humble beginnings, hasn't he? He only paid a very small amount for the pup.
That's right, yes. It was only $900. I bought the 4, 2 of them deceased. And I've got Amity Flame, his brother, so it was $900 each, so they've really well and truly paid their way back.
You bought these, you've got a couple of these pups, you bought them pretty cheap, Tony?
Yeah, that's right. Like I said, they were only $900 each, and I think between them they've won close to $65,000. That's since about November. So, they've still got a lot of racing left. They've never been injured. They've got no injuries whatsoever. So, I think there's a lot of racing left in him.
You're the rank outsider in the race tonight. What would be the ideal scenario for him throughout? Does he show pace? Will he get back and need luck? How can you see him overcoming the rest of the field this evening?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a real lot of pace in the field. I think in the heats last week, between the fastest, between first and second, between the whole lot, I think there's only 2 or 3 lengths difference. But out of the outside box, it's pretty hard. He does like the rail. He's one out of box 6, 7 and 8, but he's always searching for the rails. So it just depends how many dogs are more or less getting to the first corner at the same time. With, like I said, they're all pretty even in time, so it just depends how many get to the corner.
You've been in the business a really long time, Tony. You had a little bit of a break for a while, I think, didn't you?
Yeah. I've been in it for about 45 years, but it's sort of off and on. And in between time, there's been things that I just couldn't sort of have the dogs at the same time. So, and this time I think it's probably been close to 10 years that I haven't raced, and I was nearing retiring age, which I am 65 now. So I've only retired a couple of weeks ago, but when I bought the pups, I thought, I've got to have something to do when I do retire. So when I saw the pups advertised, I purchased them, and I ended up buying a farm as well, and that was part of the winding down. I bought a 65-acre farm. So I'm having a lot of fun at the moment.
I bet you are. Tony, we wish you all the best of luck tonight. We've got Tom Daley, who's with us, who has also got one through to the Harrison-Dawson final in the form of Garrick Bale. How are you, Tom? Another good final, and you've got runners.
Yeah, I'll see how we go.
He's a bit underrated, isn't he, Garrick Bale? He was very good in the heat last week.
Yeah, he's got some ability. He's had a few problems over the last 6 months. He won a group race at Wentworth Park and in really quick time, and he's had a few problems which have sort of restricted him. But he's back to his best at the moment. His run last week was a very good run, and he likes to be drawn off the track, so he's drawn nicely. So.
Yeah, he came from box 8 in that win last week. He's not that quick away, and so probably not to be boxed up on the inside helps him, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, drawn out where he likes it out there, and if he can sort of get out cleanly and Kevin Bale doesn't get him out of the boxes and he can get somewhere near them, and he might be a chance. Yeah, it's quite an even race. It's very hard to try and pick who will win this race.
You mentioned his group win last year. It was a very good win in the Peter Mosman, from memory, up in Sydney. And his form since then has been a little up and down. As you mentioned, he had a few problems. But his run last week, 29.61, he is capable of going a lot faster than that, isn't he?
Yeah, when he ran 29.48, he jumped straight on the bunny, but that was against a lesser class opposition than what he's been racing against lately. But he got into the race nicely last week. If he can get near them early tonight, he's a chance that he can't afford to give these dogs 4 and 5 lengths into the back straight. So if he's up there close into the back, which I think he's capable of, it just depends how he gets out.
Yeah, but the leader in the race looks like to be being Premier Event, who's drawn in 5, so that could hold the key to where he goes. He might get a lead through on that.
Yeah, that'd be nice if that dog could lead us into the race and then halfway down the back go to the front and win. That sounds good.
Not a bad scenario.
Sounds like you've worked it out.
Yeah, beautiful.
Tom, as far as the heats of the Sandown Cup are concerned, who do you think's your best chance getting through to the final there?
I think Baggett Bale's racing extremely well. He ran very well at the Meadows last Saturday night. He got held up a lot of the time in the race, and once he got clear, he stormed home like a train. And I think he'd probably be our best chance in the Sandown Cup.
Be great to see you with a few into the final, which we'll discuss next week. Good on you, Tom. Good luck.
Good on you. Thanks, Nadia.
Tom Daley. We do have a race at Bendigo